the collapse of Unibank, underpinned by questionable decisions, shifting financial figures, and a lack of transparency, raises serious concerns about governance, accountability, and the potential for misuse of state power. The actions and inactions of key public officials, including the Attorney General and the receiver, did not only deprive stakeholders and depositors of justice, but they also have caused significant financial loss to the state. Finally, to restore public confidence, we need to uphold the rule of law and prevent future abuses. The government must act decisively. This includes initiating an independent inquiry, one. Second of it, pursuing legal accountability. Thirdly, reforming institutional processes. Anything less would be a grave betrayal of principles of justice and responsible governance.
At a point in time, when government wants revenue, it comes to the petroleum sector. However, in terms of managing these revenues that they take from us, they misappropriate them into other areas that do not even benefit the energy sector. So we are here because, or I'm supporting RMA because one, the one Ghana cedis that government has introduced, if actually we had managed these resources earlier, we wouldn't be needing 1 Ghana cedis to procure fuel or even pay sector shortfalls. If you had managed the resources earlier in 2020, we wouldn't be talking about a sector shortfall of almost 30 billion Ghana cedis today. Because if you read the Ghana energy sector shortfall or sector recovery program report sponsored by the IMF and the World Bank, read it carefully, they argued that by then our shortfall was around 17 billion, right? That is even around 2021 or so. So if 2021 we're doing 17 billion, and before these banks were closed before 2021, and even channel the 20 billion that, or the 25 billion or the 30 billion that you hear them mention in the banking sector cleanup into the power sector, one, our sector would have been modernized, right? Doing so would have been something of the past. Two, our sector would have been devoid of debt, huge debt, either to IPPs or even local power sector service providers. Three, our sector would have had future capacities. As we speak, our sector is likely going to be in serious jeopardy in 2027. Because in all the capacity we talk about dependable capacity, we talk about available capacity, we talked about installed capacity would be exhausted by 2027. So imagine we had prudently used the 25 billion, 27 billion, I don't even know how much they spent in the sector cleanup, but you hear a lot of figures anyway, 25 billion, 30 billion. Imagine we had used it prudently, efficiently, we made economic sense out of it. At least some of these monies or revenues would have been diversified into the power sector to stop us from paying the 1 Ghana cedis levy, to even stop us from paying the 4 Ghana cedis 27 on petrol or 4 Ghana cedis 25 on diesel. So we are here because of mismanagement of government, and not even this current government. Over the years, I think governments have not utilized our resources efficiently and also effectively, and that is why most of the time when they need resources, they come to the petroleum sector. And we also urge all of us here, especially those of us who report on energy, that we must understand some of the issues in the energy sector, so that if in future government wants to implement any tax policy or fiscal policy on energy product, we tell them that go to the banking sector, clean up money, and then use that to diversify into the energy sector and stop disturbing the energy sector with a lot of debt. And if you are not lucky, if they are not able to manage these 4 Ghana cedis 27 pesos or 4 Ghana cedis 25 pesos, in future they are likely going to introduce another levy. I'm not saying this current future, but in future, because if you look at the history of levies on the sector, right, from 2015, before 2015 there was toll levy. In 2004, KK support. 2015 we introduced energy sector levies. 2019, even 2017 amended and then changed some of the taxes. For example, the NDC introduced what they call the special petroleum tax, which was an ex-depot VAT of 17.5%. NDC MPP amended it to a fixed figure of 46%. In 2019, they came there again. In 2021, they came there again. In 2021, I quite remember I was with my former organization. We kicked against it, but the media did not understand the issues. And we know how media, I'm not saying anything, but we know how it is practiced in Ghana anyway. They supported them. In 2021, they brought it. They brought sanitation and pollution levy and also energy sector recovery levy, thinking that we were going to defray the debt. Still, the debt is still there. The debt is still on us. So I think that we should always ask for responsible and efficient utilization of national resources. If you're able to do it that way and hold them very accountable to it, very transparent to it, I think that our energy sector will not even experience any 1 Ghana cedi per liter through the Energy Sector Shortfall and Debt Repayment Amendment Act. We will not experience that.
Discussion around the 60-40 was after the AG, in the principle of accountability, shared with the Ghanaian public his recovery plans for some of the state funds that we needed to recoup. And so the Revenue Mobilisation Africa and our partners decided to go into it and look whether there was any 60-40 in the first place. And when we went into the search, we realized that there were some findings, but not about the 60-40, that the Attorney General had a sitting with the Bank of Ghana, with the receiver, and Unibank in determining the true value of what had to be recouped from Unibank. And we realized that there was a 2 billion that had to be recouped. Also, we actually realized that Unibank had offered that in assets they were going to give from their sister holding company an amount of assets that valued at 800 million and then some 1.2 billion which was in third-party loans. And so we realized that there was no formula of 60-40, but these are the facts that were pertaining. Also, the states actually, from our findings, owed Unibank some 2.9 billion, and so we're looking to ask from the AG currently whether we still owed Unibank that 2.9 billion, whether the 2 billion that was standing as a cost for recovery is standing, and then also whether the amount that was used to collapse the banks, actually the figure that we've been hearing, some 25 billion, whether indeed there are documents that will show how much of that 25 billion was used in collapsing the Unibank. If, for example, it was 7 billion or more, whatever amount it is, we need to know the amounts so that we can do some computations and see if X amount was used to collapse it, they had X amount of assets, then we can know. Unibank had some assets that actually government took, the receiver will take in stock both assets and liabilities. What was the value of the assets of Unibank as at the time the bank was being, collapsed? So we needed to know all these, and we saw these were the things that came up, and we are also recommending that government sets up a committee to, go into these matters, and then also to in future, business dealings, we should avoid some of these occurrences, and also provide a lot of information to clear all these, minds of people that are actually thinking there's a 60-40. But as RMA stands, we have always said that, look, state assets, when they are actually, in the wrong hands, or maybe whether we've made losses, we need people to, pay back. That's why we were brought on board. People were asking from us, and so we did the search and realized that, look, there's no formula that 60-40 was anywhere, but then indeed there are efforts by government to recoup, what was actually outstanding. So we look forward to government or AG coming up to tell us what the plans are in setting up this committee to give us finality to all this discussion. But indeed, we can state that we didn't see any 60-40 in our findings.
So your final word?
My final word is that this collaboration should be a tripartite one between citizens and CSO on one side, government of Ghana with the Bank of Ghana on the other side, and then the receiver to tell us what really the audited reports said and also what the findings were. That actually kept jumping from 5.7 billion to some 2.8 billion, and now we are at 2 billion. We need to all know all this so that future occurrences will be avoided.